Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the work session of Las Cruces City Council. Today is Monday, December 12th, 2022. It's approximately 1 p.m. If you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so Jennifer Martinez from our communications office will be introducing our pets of the week.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm Jennifer Martinez with the city's communications office, and today I have a cat and dog of the week that I will introduce you to, and I will begin with our cat, Titania. Let's see. There we go. This girl is about 1 year old. She is initially shy, but wants to open up and be super sweet and affectionate. When comfortable, she is the best companion you could ever ask for. She is looking for a forever home that will make her feel safe and loved, and if that happens, her holiday wish will have come true. And then we have Chong. This 3-year-old is a handsome and charming boy. He's surprised that he has not found his forever home yet. Chong is playful and sociable with other dogs. He is learning how to be house trained by his Pauliday foster. He has a high jump, so he may need a little supervision, but just outside only. If you're interested in adoption, you can contact the ASCMV at 382-0018. There is a holiday adoption event at Bud's. That's at 1886 West Picacho this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And the Home for the Holiday event is going on through the end of the month, where the adoption fees are $25. And if you are one of the first 80 adoptions, those are fully sponsored by the Doña Ana County Humane Society. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Jennifer. And on behalf of the thousands in attendance and the millions watching and the people up here on the dais, we wish you a happy birthday.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, next is the jobs of the week. Giselle Palomares is going to give that report.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name is Giselle Palomares. I'm with New Mexico Workforce Connection. For the jobs of the week, we have the City of Las Cruces is hiring a traffic operations engineer that pays $72,000 to $104,000, depending on experience. I'm open until filled. White Sands Missile Range is hiring an electrical engineer that pays $79,000 a year. Closes December 16th. Health and Human Services is hiring a housekeeping associate that pays $11.50 to $12.50 an hour, depending on experience, and closes January 1st of 2023. Rent-A-Coli North America is hiring a sales representative that pays $27,000 to $69,000 a year, depending on experience, and that closes March 2nd of 2023. And New Mexico State University is hiring an inventory control clerk that pays $23,000 to $32,000, depending on experience, and that closes December 14th. And Intrafusion GP is hiring an infusion RN, and that pays $55,000 to $78,000 a year, depending on experience, and closes March 1st of 2023. And as always, you can visit the New Mexico Workforce Connection office, visiting them in person at 226 South Alameda Boulevard, or you can contact them via phone at 575-524-6250. And please follow, like, and subscribe. And you can also download the app, now available on the Apple Store and Google Play. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Giselle. I don't know if you spotted that lady over there to your left or to your right. Who's that?
That's Gonzalo Flores, the area manager for the Las Cruces office and Sunland Park.
So you saw her kind of...
I just saw her right now when I walked
just
in.
now,
Yeah.
so, yeah, okay. Well, you did a great job. So.
Thank you.
Good. I didn't want to get you nervous. You guys are all happy because there's only one item on the agenda, and we probably should be done in 15 minutes, and so... First item is and then the only item is the GEO bond quarterly update.
And it says Kyle Arend, Public Works. So are you Kyle?
That's correct.
Oh, good. Nice to meet you. And David Cedillo, Public Works Director, will be introducing you, I presume.
Correct. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. David Cedillo, Public Works Director. And yes, I am introducing Kyle Arndt. He's our engineering administrator who will be providing the Go Bond updates for you this afternoon.
Mr. Mayor and Council, good afternoon. Again, for the record, my name is Kyle Arndt, Engineering Administrator with your Public Works Department. And I'm here to make the Go Bond program update for the 2018 Go Bond cycle. Question number 1, Unidad Park. We are identifying this project as 100% complete. We're identifying this project as 100% complete. Ribbon cutting and final completion was October 25th. There was a small punch list from the Mexico Environmental Department. The architect, our program manager, and the Parks and Recs Department performed a punch list walkthrough back in October. All punch list items have been completed by the contractor. East Mesa Public Recreational Complex. We are identifying this project as 52% complete with an estimated completion date of February 6, 2023. I'll elaborate a little bit more on that in the next slide. Earthwork, you'll see from the pictures a lot of brown. Earthwork is 98% complete. The pickleball court slabs are complete. Fencing is ongoing. All utility line installations have been completed. The restroom building walls are complete. Doesn't look like much from the photos, but we're getting there. Plumbing and electrical on the restroom building is ongoing, and site concrete overall is 85% complete. Now, the project schedule and the budget. You'll see that the red line showing expenditures is lagging quite a bit behind. That's where the 52% complete comes from. It's a function of money spent. We are 2 months behind on billings on this project, and you can see from the last month's billing, this red line has got a pretty aggressive upward trajectory. We expect that to continue for the next couple months for the billings that are in place, as well as through the remainder of the project. The total GoBod contract amount was $6 million. Total spent to date is $3.1 million. We are expecting 100% of the Go Bond expenditures to be complete by the end of this month, and the overall completion date, February 6, 2023, includes expenditure of some of the additional ARPA funds that were dedicated to this project. Dog parks. We identify that as 92% complete. We are expecting full completion by the end of this month. Rinconada Dog Park, the restroom building and electric is ongoing. Fencing is 98% complete. Landscaping is 30% complete. And the sage structures have been completed. You'll see there from the photos, the restroom building looks nearly done, but there's obviously some internal work to occur there with the plumbing and electric. The bulk of the fencing is up. The concrete shade structures in the pictures down below are complete. Burn Lake Dog Park, contractor has finished all of the punch list items, and we have turned over this site to Parks and Recreation Department as of November 9th. The new, question 2, Animal Services Center, the new Animal Services Center. We identify that project as 92% complete with a revised completion date of December 27, 22 based on the bond dollars. Stucco, tile, painting, site concrete are all complete. Doors, hardware, MEP stands for mechanical, electrical, plumbing. Ceilings and casework installation are approximately 95% complete. Access control and video surveillance systems are 75% complete. If you happen to drive by that site, you'll see a fury of activity by a lot of individuals working to get that project complete by the end of the month. Looking at the billings and the project schedule for the Animal Services Center, revised contract amount was $11.2 million. We do expect to spend all that money by the end of this month. You'll see from the trajectory of the red line indicating expenditures that we are rapidly approaching 100% by the end of this month. Question 3, fire station number 3. We've identified that project as 100% complete. The site is occupied and completely in use. All the remaining access control items were completed in October 2022, and we are reviewing the final play application presently. Again, looking at the schedule and the expenditures, you'll see from the red line that we've been virtually very near to complete for many months now while we waited for some access control features to be acquired and delivered to the site and installed. Now that those are done, we're showing that project again at 100% complete, all GO bond funds expended. Question number 4, walking, jogging, biking trails. We are identifying this as essentially 100% complete with a revised completion date of the end of this month. The Masillo Drain and the Armijo Drain Trail are complete. The Las Cruces Lateral Drain Trail, we had a final walkthrough on the basic construction items back in August, and that punch list has been completed with some of the additional leftover funds that were available on that project. Parks and Rec requested additional benches, pest weight stations, and waste baskets. The concrete pads for those items have been constructed, and we are just waiting for the benches and the trash cans and the waste stations to arrive. We're expecting them to arrive any day now. And once those arrive, all we need to do is bolt them down onto the concrete, and we can wrap that project up and identify it as complete. Again, looking at the project schedule and the red line indicating expenditures, we show it as of last month virtually complete. And we expect to have the last $40,000 spent, which is the ordering of those materials, by the end of this month. Overall program budget, Project A on your left, the new Animal Services Center. The revised construction cost was a little over $9.3 million. The total overall project budget was a little over $11.4 million, of which $9.8 million is GO bond, and the remaining $1.375 million is a combination of some PVA funds, some additional funds from Las Cruces Utilities, and ARPA. Fire station number 3, the revised construction costs contract was $4.7 million. The overall total budget was $6.2 million, all of it being GO bond dollars. Those are all showing as being completed. East Mesa Public Recreational Complex, the revised construction contract is presently at $8.56 million. The original estimate was $6 million. A lot of change orders. The total overall project budget is a little over $10.6 million, of which a little over $7.8 million is GO bonds, and the additional $3 million that we show down there are ARPA funds. Unidad Playground, revised construction contract of a little over $1.8 million. Total overall project budget, just over $2.3 million, of which 1.53 million is Go Bond dollars, and the rest of it is ARPA dollars. We're showing that project as mentioned earlier, basically complete. East Hadley Avenue Recreational Complex, a revised construction contract of $3.78 million, a total overall project budget of a little over $4.38 million, of which Go Bond contributed $4.36 million, and we had an additional $24,000 and some change that was added to that project in order to wrap it up and make it complete. Park and Sports Courts Rehab. We had a revised construction contract of $1.737 million, a total overall project budget of $2.13 million, all of which were Go Bond dollars, all of which have been expended. The walking, jogging, biking recreational item, revised construction cost of just under $2.5 million, overall project budget of just over $2.9 million, of which $2.7 million was Go Bonds, and the remaining $210,000 came from ARPA. Last item on this slide, dog parks. Revised construction contract of just under $1.1 million. Total overall project budget, $1.38 million, of which $1.07 million was Go Bond, and the remaining $312,000 and some change is coming primarily from ARPA. A lot of information on this slide, sorry. Overall program schedule, you'll see there on the far right in the beigeish brown is 2023. On the top there, Animal Services Center, we identify being complete with the Go Bond expenditures by the end of this quarter. Likewise, Fire Station number 3, that project is complete, all expenditures by the end of this quarter. East Mesa Recreational Complex, that construction will continue into the first quarter of 2023. All Go Bonds, as identified in this chart, are expected to be spent and completed in this quarter, with additional funding in the first quarter of 2023 consisting entirely of ARPA dollars. Unidad Playground, Hadley Recreational Center, Park and Sports Complex Rehab, all those projects are complete. The trails, we have, again, the final remaining items with regards to the benches and the way stations, completing this quarter, with all Go Bond funds having already been expended, and the remaining work is consisting entirely of ARPA dollars. Dog parks, again, we expect to have that one complete this quarter. All Go Bonds have already been spent. This last 2 pay applications to fully complete the project will consist entirely of ARPA dollars. Overall program expenditures, you'll see from the orange line that we are at 95% complete. The Go Bond amount was $35,600,000, of which to date we've spent $34,117,000. We expect all Go Bond spending to be completed by the end of this month, with final completion of the remaining dollars extending into, again, the first quarter, May 6, 2023, consisting of ARPA dollars. And the remaining dollars to be spent are almost entirely on East Mesa Parks and Recreation Complex. Questions or discussion?
Okay, well, thanks, Kyle. Good job. I'll turn it over to Councilor, looks like Flores, and then Councilor Beta.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Kyle. I know that you were talking about Go Bonds and how it looks like we've met, or the city has met all of its goals and deadlines. But in terms of, and then there's more money coming in for the East Mesa based on the recent election. But the roads around there, I know that's CIP, that isn't covered by Go Bond, and do you have any idea how that is being planned out?
The roads, I might need a little help from Tony on this one. The road expenditures to date did not consist of Go Bond dollars.
Correct.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Councilor Flores, Tony Trevino for the record. You are correct. The Sonoma Springs extension and the Camino Coyote roadway were not part of the Go Bond. They're CIP, and they are complete as of this date. So the roads are completed. There's some final touches they're going to do for some erosion issues, but all in all, the roads are in place and they're usable at this point.
So there's that connection on El Coyote or Coyote. What's the name of that street? El Coyote or Coyote?
Camino Coyote. That's the
Camino.
one by the safety complex. Yes.
Yeah, and does it go all the way around now?
They do. They
Like a
both
horseshoe?
tie into the East Mesa Sports Complex from the
Okay.
north and south side.
Great. And then what about the artwork? The artwork at the fire station number 3, how is that coming along? I know it was delayed because of engineering technicalities or electrical or something. Do you know?
Mayor, Councilor Flores, at this point, the money and everything has been set aside for the Arts Council, the Arts Committee. We are just waiting on them to prepare it and get it installed. It has been ready since June or July to be installed. So the fire station has been ready for quite some time. The other project that has art is the Animal Service Center, and that is ready to go as soon as they get their contract in.
But my understanding was that the artwork, that beautiful art piece that's going up fire station number 3, that there were some delays of some sort. I want to believe you, Tony, but you didn't convince me. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Councilor Flores, David Cedillo, Public Works Director for the record. So the artwork for the fire station at this point is ready.
Right.
Quality of Life has moved forward in obtaining a PO. They are in that process with the vendor.
What's the PO?
A purchase order.
Okay.
And they will be having that vendor start here within the next couple of months.
So there, so there was no problem in the installation because of some technicalities in electrical work or connections or something like that? Or I don't know. I mean,
Councilor Flores, to my understanding, there was no issues with infrastructure. I believe they made a slight modification to the foundation, but that's what I know of moving forward with that art piece.
And do you know if there's going to be some kind of a grand opening or an event that showcases Fire Station 3? I think that's one of the most beautiful pieces of work that we have out of Go Bond.
Councilor Flores, we did have a grand opening for Fire Station number 3.
Oh, I missed it.
Yes, ma'am. So that has already occurred. We will most likely be having the same once the Animal Service Center is completed. We'll move forward with events like that.
So will there be an unveiling of the artwork? It's just so beautiful. I think that the city should really stress, I mean, I'm just saying for whoever's listening or maybe not listening, I don't know. But
So, Councilor Flores, what I will do is I'll go ahead and pass that information on to
the
Ceci
powers that be.
Vasconcelos, who is part of the city's art board.
Oh, yeah,
and I will
Ceci.
pass that on to her and ask to see if once the art piece is installed, to see if there's going to be any unveiling of it once the artist is complete.
You mean Ceci Vasconcelos?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Thank you so much, David, and thank you, Tony. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Councilor Beta.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Councilor Flores. You had 2 of my questions, so hopefully this will be easier. Thank you for the presentation. One of the items that I did want to kind of touch base with, as we've already issued other Go Bonds and looking at the East Mesa complex, with the anticipation of this first part having the construction complete, what is going to be kind of the wait time before we can restart construction again?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Abeta, it's my understanding that portions of the work in we'll call it phase the next phase of East Mesa Recreational Corridor can begin quite soon. We are going to change order that into the existing contract with the existing contractor out there. The lighting and lighting foundations, a lot of that work, I believe we're looking at putting back out to bid. Is that right? But we do expect to be able to roll directly into construction for the remaining items and get that done pretty quickly.
Mayor, Councilor Beta, David Cedillo again for the record. So the city is preparing to go and sell the GO bonds that were recently approved in this last election sometime in the spring. So once we move forward with the sale of the bond and we receive those proceeds, then we can move into those activities that Mr. Arndt has explained.
Okay, thank you. And then the second question I had is, we had obviously a lot of changes in the last 2 years, especially when it came to the cost of just materials and items like that. I know we've adjusted with like our reserve capacity to help with some of those things, but we did have to use ARPA dollars to make up for some of those deficits. I'm not sure if that type of funding will be available this next time around, so I was wondering what the plan was as far as making sure that we're anticipating some of those inflation costs that might go beyond the reserve, or if we think that we've been able to account for that enough.
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Abeta, again, Kyle Arndt for the record. Yes, you're correct. Inflation has hit this project rather hard. The construction costs were exceeding the original estimates back when the project was conceived. There's a lot of remaining work to do out there on East Mesa. The Public Works Department is working at present with Parks and Recreation and the City Manager's Office to add additional CIP requests and to bring additional funds to bear on the East Mesa Parks and Rec. Thanks, Kyle.
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Beta, and I think to answer the other part of your question was for the upcoming Juban projects. So with the consultant that we hired, we did do some review back of the escalation we've had for the past 4 years and project that forward for the next 4 years. So there has been some, I guess you can call it fluff, added to these projects. So we should be good enough for the infrastructure construction of all these. So the fire station kind of went up about $3 million compared to what we had before, just so we can adjust to some of these escalated costs. So we have looked into that.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Mayor.
Councilor Bencomo.
Hi, Mayor. 2 quick questions, because we're trying to make this officially the fastest meeting ever. You mentioned there was a 2-month billing delay on the East Mesa Complex Recs. Is that on our side? Is that on contractor side? Can you explain that a little bit more?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Bencomo, that is primarily on the contractor's side.
Okay.
They have, it's my understanding that just in the last week, they have bundled 2 months worth of billing and turned them in. And so our team is reviewing those 2 months worth of billing right now, and we hope to be able to get them approved and issued a check here very shortly. So that'll help bring us up to bear. But the contractor has been working furiously out there, getting a lot of work done, and I think they've just been struggling to keep up with their actual billing cycles.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. And then this is related but slightly unrelated, mostly unrelated. I know there was a couple of updates that were going on at Burn Lake with the shade structures and some of that were getting demolished, and then a couple new ones. Do you have an update on that? Is that more of a Parks and Rec question?
I do not.
Mayor, Councilor Bencomo, yes, that would be a Parks and Rec question, as that is not part of the GeoBond project. The GeoBond is just new infrastructure, not tearing down or adding it. So.
I'll just email Sonia, because I think she gave me an update a few months ago, but I can't remember. Thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Kyle. Kyle, my question is around the Animal Services Center, and I think it's, did you say 96% complete? And so one of the things last month that we heard that the hardware had been a delay. Are you telling me that you received that hardware and the only thing that we're waiting on, I'm assuming, is the kennels because of the work that it requires to make them? Do you have that specific information?
Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Gandara, I do have some of those specifics. There's a bunch of hardware that has come in just recently that we're expecting to get completed. I think it's my understanding that all the hardware needed is expected to be installed by the end of this month. There are some kennels, the puppy kennels, that we are waiting on. We don't have a time yet of when we expect them to arrive. We're working diligently, the contractor is working diligently with the supplier to get them as quickly as possible. We do expect that the installation of the kennels will occur after the end of this month sometime.
Wow, that's good news. Okay, very good. Thank you, Kyle. And then will you go back to the slide where you wrapped everything up nicely? A lot of information. The 12, slide 12. Kyle, when the fees, that line item, can you talk to me more specifically? And you may have said that, and I just sort of, it went over my head. Can you talk to me specifically what that entails?
Mr. Mayor, Pro Tem Gandara, it's my recollection that those fees consist of the architects, the engineers, soil review technicians, and other professional services.
So professional services, yes. And then the miscellaneous costs, what does that entail?
I don't.
Mayor Pro Tem. So as part of this project, we had a miscellaneous cost, miscellaneous/contingencies. We have money set aside, so that is some stuff for permitting that comes up, some unforeseen. For example, the East Mesa Sports Complex, we had to hire not an archaeologist,
Geologist?
I just don't have, but just kind of monitor all the work going through that area. So it's just some unforeseen costs we had set aside, so it doesn't come and take away from the overall construction cost. So it's just money set aside for permitting also. We need some permitting, some El Paso electric costs that came up during design and construction. So that's just a set aside for some of that stuff.
So this is the money that you set aside, but you also used?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that comes from the general fund, or a combination of all those?
So all of the items you see there comes out of the original geo bond cost.
Okay.
We just had to break it down so we have
Yes.
money set aside for everything, so we don't just assume we have everything for construction, that we actually set some aside for unforeseen circumstances during construction.
Okay, good, thank you.
Okay.
That was all. Thank you, Kyle and Tony. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, so I have just a couple questions. I don't know who can answer these. Okay, so on the East Mesa Public Recreation Complex, the lights, when do those go in? Is that typically last, or are you going to build those now, or when can we see those?
Mr. Mayor, Council, the lighting is included in the 2022 Go Bond program. Again, we will not be selling those bonds until next spring. We expect the money to come on board around the April-May timeframe. Once those money is on board, then we can proceed with getting a contractor on board to proceed with installation of those items.
Okay, so they weren't on this original bond, they were on this new one then, the lighting, okay. The reason why I bring that up is I think it's important to get that up and about and even lit, because it kind of lets the neighbors know in the district that this is what's happening here. And I think it's just good practice in case people were, because that the area is growing and they can be a little bit more accustomed to it instead of waiting for the very last minute and then we put the lights and then Councilor Flores gets flooded with calls because they want to know why the lights are out there.
Mr. Mayor, just to add to that, Tony Trevino for the record, we are already getting in contact with the light vendor, light contractor, to kind of get that process started. So as soon as those proceeds come, we're going to move right into that installation and construction. So there won't be much of a delay by the time the landscaping and everything. It should all kind of merge together as one complete project. So.
And then the second thing is, it's good to see that the walking trail is completely finished. And if I recall, this was connecting on the south end, the west to the east. Is that correct? And so I think this pretty much will complete a loop, for the most part, a loop around the city. And I was just wondering if you don't have it handy, I can look it up, or you can send me a picture of what it looks like. I'm just envisioning a kind of a loop around the city now.
I never got rid of these slides just for this reason.
Good.
So, Mr. Mayor, you can see here question 4, which is the walking, jogging, the Armijo lateral. It started here off of the Outfall Channel Trail. That's one that comes off of the Las Cruces Dam on the north side of town. And it comes across, and this one will eventually tie into, it will come down, hit Amador, and utilize some of the existing bike lanes and tie into the Burn Lake area. So that is that trail. So that kind of makes that, there's already a loop that goes there, but kind of cuts through and kind of through town to have a lot of those residents utilize that trail. Wrong way. The southwest, the Mesilla Drain Trail, kind of starts at the Outfall Channel behind Mayfield and also ties into Burn Lake. And then, I don't know, I can't drive this thing. And the Las Cruces Trail is the one, I don't see that on here, but it's the one that also starts there at the Outfall Channel and ties in here to the Gallagher Pond right here off of Main Street and kind of ties into the city hall and comes this way. The overall project, kind of what you think, I think what you've been hearing is the La Llorona Trail that goes along the river heading south, and the town of Mesilla has built a trail along Calle del Norte, kind of heading east, and kind of to tie into Avenida Mesilla. And then now they're actually having a project from Avenida de Mesilla to University, the town of Mesilla, to kind of help complete that loop. So one of the only segments that will be missing is through the University part to kind of tie in the whole thing. So that's kind of where we're at now, I believe, as a community for that trail.
The whole purpose was to eventually get and market a marathon race around the city. I mean, that really, there's not that many in the Southwest, and I think it just lends itself to the city and kind of highlights it. That's all. So that's what I was looking for. And when we can finally get that going, I think that would be kind of fun.
Yeah, it would be. I agree.
Okay. Okay, well, that's all I had. That's it. How about anyone from the public? Okay. All right, well, seeing none, then entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, Gandara.
Motion made by Councilor Abeyta, second by Mayor Pro Tem Gondara, that we adjourn. Teresa?
This is on a motion to adjourn the meeting. Councilor Abeyta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Curran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondara?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, it's 1:38 p.m. We are adjourned. I don't think it's a record, but it's probably close. It's in the top 5, probably.
In the last
20 years, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I notice you all aren't talking as much. Okay, whenever you ready? Okay, so this is the agenda setting meeting for the December 19th, 2022 City Council meeting. Number 1, consent.
Number 1, consent.
2, non-consent.
Number 2, non-consent.
3, non-consent.
3, non-consent.
4, consent.
4, consent.
5, non-consent.
5, non-consent.
6, non-consent.
6, non-consent.
7, consent.
6, consent.
No, okay, 6 is non-consent.
Okay, I'm sorry.
7 is consent.
Consent.
8 is consent.
8 is consent.
Number 9 has been pulled.
Number
Been
9 has been
removed.
pulled.
Number 10, non-consent.
Number 10, non-consent.
11, non-consent.
11, non-consent.
12, consent.
12, consent.